course, are watching right now. This is Africa TV. We are happy to be here again to bring you another special coverage to talk about this state of public emergency in the Gambia, because the Gambia government, of course, is seeking for an extension of the state of emergency or public emergency in the Gambia for another 45 days. And of course, the bill is expected to be tabled at the National Assembly by the Interior Minister this time around. What are the expectations? Would it happen or not? Of course, as you can see, these are live proceedings at the National Assembly happening right now in Banjul. And of course, in a moment, we should be going live to join the proceedings down there. And of course, together with you, we can watch and see what's going to happen this morning, of course, this afternoon. But before then, joining me is my colleague or senior editor, of course, of the Africa TV, Ibrahim Presby. Ibrahim, good morning and welcome to this special.
Good morning, Amadi. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about very critical thing like the state of public emergency. The whole journey started in March when the first case was recorded in the Gambia, and it was a big news, and that the government wasted no time to say that people must stay at home, and the state of emergency using constitutional power was invoked by the president. So since then, it has been going step by step until we are at this stage. So this will be the fourth time that it will be sought to be extended for the safety of the people, because the number of cases are not going down.
Absolutely. It seems to be persistent at the moment, but it was barely 21 days ago that, the then, of course, Justice Minister, the former now, tabled a bill at the National Assembly seeking an extension. It was, rejected by the Parliament. Today, it's the Interior Minister who is stepping in his shoes, and of course to table another bill for another extension of 45 days. What are you expecting?
This time it is the Minister of Interior who is coming, because as we know, those following National Assembly proceeding will know that yesterday was the last day for the outgoing Justice Minister Abubakar Tambedu bid farewell to the National Assembly to say that, from yesterday, he is no longer going to come and be tabling bill, having engagement with the Minister, National Assembly members. So now the Minister of Interior is taking over the challenge. But the situation in the Gambia, the law is such that, either the arm of government, that is the executive or the National Assembly, are empowered constitutionally to be able to extend a state of public emergency. So initially, or the one that is just ending, was done by the President himself, using constitutional powers vested in him. So now that the National Assembly is sitting, it's not going to be a state of, the extraordinary session of the Assembly. This is the ordinary session that is going on right now. So it is very fitting to show that both the executive and the National Assembly are working together as a different arm of government. Is for the executive to present it before the National Assembly for it to be extended by the deputies. And then when that is done, it means that the whole country is represented there.
Yeah, well, of course, interesting. Now, as you can see, of course, right now, the sittings haven't started yet. They are reviewing of course, sessions of the past sittings and maybe approve and do adoption, adjustment here and there, as usual. They do before they will get to the matter itself. Now, of course, considering some of the concerns that were raised by some of the parliamentarians when the, the initial 45 days extension was tabled before them, that resulted some of them not approved of that extension. What is likely to happen today? Are we going to see any sort of difference from what were presented before by the government in such a way that probably push of the parliamentarians to approve the deal?
Today, to be honest with you, I expect a critical day, and it is going to be, a mouth-watering session, looking at the situation from the beginning, because after the first 7 days that were declared by the president, so the bill was brought in, the motion was brought in before the parliamentarian to extend it. They did that. The government was requesting for 90 days, but parliament approved 45 days. That was after the 45 days. So the parliament established a special committee that was monitoring the progress and how it was going on. So they realized that there was no seriousness attached to this state of emergency. So the next time government came in, or the cabinet came in through the Minister of Justice, it was like, you didn't take it serious for the past 45 days we gave you. So what is the point of extending it? If we got to extend it, that was the voice of the parliament. If they were to extend it, they told the cabinet that, you know, there must be measures in place to show that Gambia will definitely go by, adhere to the rules, to the principles, to make it a sensible extension.
Yeah.
But the government did not come back, or the executive did not come back. The President Barrow went ahead and extended using his
now they come back. I mean, of course, we all know, looking at the situation and how things are unfolding, you know, realistically, can we say that anything have changed since the 21 extension was made? Because they are now again requesting another extension.
The communication between the executive and the National Assembly is not absolutely clear, because after the recommendation for the National Assembly to extend it for 25 days, that was in May, you know, the cabinet went ahead and then extended. Since then, it has been extended a second time without consulting the National Assembly. So now, this is the third time for it to be extended again by the National Assembly. A request, the third request you call it. The first one was done by the Assembly. The second one was also, you know, rejected somehow. Now this is going to be the third time. So what will the National Assembly say? They will request for comprehensive report from the from the cabinet, from the Minister of Justice, who have been moving the motion before the National Assembly, before the parliamentarian, as to what is the genesis, what are the aims and objectives of, you know, amending or extending it now. So because, you know, this is what the National Assembly will have to rely on to be able to make a decision. Without that, it will likely be a very long day, and it will be likely a push and pull between the minister and parliamentarian. And you know, the trend at the National Assembly now is very critical. That you can never predict what is likely going to happen until the sessions are over.
Very well so. Now, of course, it is also good to say that, you know, government would only seek an extension of more than 21 days, not 21 days, of which the president have the power to do so. You know, it's good that we say that. But then again, you know, looking at what happened in the other time when the request was rejected by the parliament, the considerations, the concerns that the parliament, some of the members raised. Now, are we likely to maybe expect another setback from the parliament today? That is for government indeed, if in case the parliament decided not to approve again the extension by the government.
Likely to happen not because of the situation or the relationship between cabinet and National Assembly, not likely, but because of the public reaction. We know recently, even, you know, different trade unions or different business communities, different people from different parts of the country are complaining that the state of emergency is not in their favor, with due respect to the number of cases increasing. So the latest among them is a transport union that went ahead with a sit-down strike. About 2-3 days, people were stranded. Commuters could not go to work. People could not go about with their normal life, normal business errands, because the commercial driver said enough is enough. The private vehicles could load as much as the capacity of the vehicle, but the commercial vehicles are there to be interjected in the traffic by the police to say that, you know, the number have to be cut down by half. So people are losing income, and there is fatigue in the stay-at-home campaign. So now the National Assembly to extend this means that they will be shifting the responsibility by whoever is affected, whoever claimed to be affected by the extension of the state of emergency from now government, that is the cabinet, to the National Assembly. And these are representative of the people. They are there politically. They also need to have the, to be embraced by their people. So now this is before them. It's going to be very difficult decision for them to make.
You have said it is going to be a mouth-watering class or day again at the National Assembly. And of course, it looks like we are for a very enticing, if not interesting, sessions today at the National Assembly. But again, can we look at this matter in a, or should I say discuss this matter? Because considering that our neighboring country, Senegal, we are talking about this matter a day after President Sall decided to lift the state of emergency and the curfew. Also, other countries like Liberia have went on to open their airspace and flights have started coming in. And now Gambia, we are talking about extension of the public emergency. How would the public read all of this?
Yeah, the WHO, latest information from the WHO is that there is a likelihood of a second or a third wave of the coronavirus global pandemic, because people seem to be now no more having the patient to stay at home.
Yeah.
We are tired of this, emergency, and then, countries are opening airspace, and then lockdown is being eased over and over. But that doesn't also send down the number of cases.
Yeah.
The number of COVID-19,
Keep
globally
escalating.
exceed 110 million cases,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then with more than 500,000 deaths globally. In Africa, it's about 300,000 have been infected with the disease,
Which is worrisome.
Yes, Gambia, the number is 47 now cases.
Yeah.
From 5, 10, 15. It is going
Of
on.
recent,
So,
it has
yeah.
been increasing almost in daily basis.
And then it has mainly due to importation of cases. So recently, of the SN Brussels that come from Europe to the Gambia, bringing passengers, not only Gambians. So we spoke to the Ministry of Health to say that who are these passengers from the SN Brussels? There's a majority are Gambians, showing that the airspace has been open even for non-Gambians to come over. So now to ease the restriction will not be in the favor of the people looking at the structures of the health situation. And but one thing we need to also remember in May, when the Senegalese authorities ease the emergency restrictions to lead the opening of places of worship, reopening of school, Gambia followed suit to say that okay, now mosques and churches can now pray, observing the regulations that they can do at their disposal. So schools have also resumed. This is the second week of Gambia, resuming school with the grade 9. This is an examination class, and then pending on the success of that class, for example, according to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, the rest of the stream across the country will be open. So progress is being tested on the opening of grade 9. But now, what will the ministry say? What will the National Assembly say?
Yeah.
So all this is happening. Will they sort it all up now? Because declaring or extending the state of emergency means that you are telling people to hold on with their current activities. They are coming up bit by bit, but they will say, please hang on, Gambians, because the disease is still here, the virus is here. But unfortunately, it would have been important also to hear from the Ministry of Health. At the beginning, they were holding daily press conferences. They were updating people on regular basis. They were giving all out, as a full military, deployment to talk to the people about COVID-19. Maybe people understood it now, but the National Assembly need to feature expert view on the prevalence of the disease and the nature of the disease. How would it likely be like in the next 2-3 days, if not weeks and months? But COVID-19, as far as the statistics are concerned, it is here.
Well, fantastic. And any moment from now, we expect to join the sessions at the National Assembly, as you are watching or seeing in the images right there. Of course, they are reviewing the discussions or, of course, the previous sessions and all that. And any moment from now, the matter of extension and the state of public emergency would be discussed at the National Assembly in Banjul. And of course, we are expecting a very interesting day, by the way, as you heard from, of course, my colleague here, Ibrahim Prespa. So it looks, it's going to be a very, big day again at the National Assembly. But just, I'll come back to you in a moment, but I just want to summarize this in the local language. Su ko defee rek mbokk yi ñu nuyuwaat leen bu baax a baax am mbégte lool ñu dalalaat leen ci beneen special coverage bu Africa TV comme niñ ko baaxoo di defee yéen saa su ne xam ngeen ne lu mel ni bu am ci réew mi rek dañ dee ànd ak yéen indi ci waxtaan yu am solo. tey tamit ci kanam tuuti comme ni ngeen koy gisee noonu député yi ñu ngi continuer di wéy di toog di def waxtaan yu am solo waaye tey nguur gi dañ fas yéene delluwaat ci pencum ndaw réew mi pour sàkkuwaat ñu yokk li nga xamante ne mooy state of public emergency bi nga xamante ne ñëpp xam nañ ne ñu ngi ko dund ci réew mi wàññi yu bëri yi nga xamante ne dañ ko daan dundee ci réew mi am ñu ci wàññi bu ñu fa mujjee dem ministre of justice moom moo fa yóbboon bill bi motion bi mu teebul ko waaye ñu gis ne député àndoon ci loolu tey tamit interior ministre bi nga xamante ne moom moo gàlloo doxalini biir réew mi ak yu mel noonu tey moom moo war a dem foofu noonu demay seet ndax loolu dana sotti lan moo cee mën a am nag xamaguñ lan la waaye comme ni ma ko waxee buñ fa mujjee dem yëf yi sotti wutoon président bi ci doole bu ko constitution bi may si la sukkandiko daal di yokku 21 days tey tamit ndax loolu dina am déet su ko defee ngeen mun a ànd ak ñun incha allah ci kanam tuuti rek lépp lu fa mun a am da ngeen ko mun a seetaane fii ci Eye Africa TV comme ni ngeen ko baaxoo di gisee saa su ne si suñ taxawaay moo tax saa yi nekk rek li ñëwee dañ ci di am waxtaan yu ñëw jiital def ci jàngat ay analysis comme liggéey bi loolu la laaj tamit bu boobaa lu ci munta am ñun ñëpp ñu gisandoor ko waaye tamit déggandoor ko ci ñi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo fa teewal ñi nga xamante ne mooy waa réew mi ndax ku ne am na ki nga xamante ne moom moo la fa teewal mu nekkal lu am solo well should I state of course should I test my state of Mandinka maybe Mbandingol but I'll do that next time but not today somebody's laughing on the background but that's fine anyway press coming back to the matter again well because I know any moment from now we would be going to the National Assembly. Of course, like we said, we discussed about the concerns and all that. And somebody would say, of course, not much have changed, And of course, you are talking about the Ministry of Health was very much active, updating the media on daily basis. But seemingly, although that has somehow died down, it looks like in all angles, people are beginning to lose interest of this, state of emergency and if not the COVID-19.
Because the extension that was discussed in April, the basis through which the National Assembly decided at the time was, from the expert, report that is the National Assembly, invited the expert from the Ministry of Health who predicted that Gambia was going to record about, hundreds of thousands, 300,000 cases by the peak period, that is June, July, which we are in now. So the calculation used to arrive at that figure was scientific method. We requested to know from the Ministry of Health, and they justified that it was a scientific method.
But by this time, we would have more cases, maybe a lot of deaths also.
At least, because the Minister of Health said that Gambia had already prepared.
And by the way, government will always rely to say that, of course, the Minister of Health would say it's because of the state of emergency, maybe that's why we didn't get to that level.
That is one of it.
Could that be a justifiable reason?
It could be a justifiable reason, and because of that, if that is advanced today, that means the National Assembly, who must rely on the health expert, because like one of the parliamentarians said that, these are people whoever is sick will rely on them for your safety, for your health. So who are you not to believe them when they say a disease is here and these measures need to be applied? Who are you not to accept? So that was a motivational speech at the assembly at that time. So but what we also realized that there are different opposing campaigns, because even the ECOWAS as a bloc, regional bloc, said that they call on governments around the West African states to open the border, to first allow trade to go on, looking at the risk involved in the continued lockdown. They are looking at the economic impact of COVID-19 after maybe the virus. So 1 week ago, ECOWAS was calling in for reopening of borders. So if, some regions are speaking like this, even though as of today we know more than 74,000 cases are in West Africa alone. So meaning that there are, situation of, looking at what is to prioritize. Is it the health of the people? But look, the number of people dying in Africa is less compared with other parts of the world. Maybe this is also an argument that is likely to surface at the National Assembly tonight. So, but what is eminent is Gambia should be part of countries that are preparing to cope the situation of after COVID-19, because business should be going on, productivity should be going on, and then the commerce and interstate trade should be going on, even though they continue to say that the state of emergency doesn't necessarily mean a lockdown. It doesn't mean no production. It doesn't mean no trade in and out.
It's completely different,
but what is the difference between interstate trade with also the border closure? People must have the border open to be able to go and come. So this is the situation
the
right
movement
now.
of goods and services has been limited to some extent,
but
that it's become a problem.
The beautiful thing about it today is about from March to now is about March, April, May is about 3 to 4 months after the outbreak of the disease in this area of West Africa and Africa. So a lot of National Assembly members must have done their research, done consultation with their people, looking at the border called Poros with Senegal, where the number of cases is going up every day. Deaths are improving, the more cases of deaths are being recorded even in Senegal. So Gambia having a very porous border with Senegal. Now parliamentarians are expected to present, even without relying on health experts, to say, okay, in their constituencies, what is obtaining in the ground there? What is really the situation? Like for LRR, there is one case. See, the first case in local Gambia was in the URR. So parliamentarians in those areas should bring this information for the interest of the ordinary Gambian who is going to watch the proceedings tonight, to know definitely their representatives are acting based on the real figures on the ground. And then looking at the neighbors also. So today is a testing time to see how much experts are going to be used, how much research has been done by our own parliamentarians. This is what today's sitting of the National Assembly is going to show. But because the Minister of Interior is going to be the one to move the motion, it's going to Interior, it's about
absolutely.
Security.
We're going to discuss about that, of course, to know what extra maybe convincing matters or things the Interior Minister is going to bring along to the National Assembly, and maybe government by extension also, whether they have any package for the Gambian people if they keep on saying we still have to maintain this public emergency. But just to remind you, if you are just joining us, this is Africa TV, and of course we are discussing about matters of the state of public emergency in the Gambia, because the government is seeking another 45-day extension. Of course, a motion to be tabled today by the Interior Minister. But as you can see, right now, the National Assembly members are reviewing yesterday's sittings or discussions that were held. They're trying to review some of the things that they have discussed, maybe rectify some errors, and before they move on, as normally normally happens at the National Assembly. So any moment from now, of course, sessions will begin, and immediately we will, of course, allow you to keep proceedings as they happen or unfold at the National Assembly in Banjul. But for the meantime, we're just trying to digest some of the things that we may, of course, expect or see today discussed, or brought on the table by the, of course, Interior Minister. What should we expect anything different? Like I said, it used to be the Justice Minister. Apparently, this time around, he's no more in the government, and of course, it's going to be the Interior Minister for the first time. And I was going to say, looking at how people have been frustrated about the state of emergency, the concern the parliamentarians have raised in previous, sessions and all that, whether the government would along the way, of course, come along with some maybe extra message or package that can convince the parliamentarian. If we approve this one, government is going to do more for the Gambian people, so it's just a way that people will not be highly or largely affected as we are seeing right now.
So one of the reasons why government is also easing restriction is to run away from the responsibility of having to, create emergency relief. Imagine government came up with more than $700 million worth of food items that were to be distributed across the needy people, and even the distribution of that food is a nightmare of its own. It's another topic to discuss. Until yesterday, we are aware in this newsroom here that some are yet to get, even though they got the coupons. So the controversy around that cannot continue. So the best way government will also rescue it problem from the people is to say that, okay, now go about your work. Just that, hoping that in good faith that people will respect the social distancing measures. But is that likely to happen?
And absolutely, as you said, because talking about the food package relief or whatever, those were some of the concerns raised by the parliamentarians, and they were worried about the situation, about the welfare of their own people, and they thought again government did not do as expected in terms of the support that they were talking about or that they have provided. So do you think we may expect or see the same issues again being raised by some of the
Absolutely, because if the state of emergency is to be extended, especially for 45 days or more, means that those whose business is being propelled down due to the emergency, their welfare need to be looked at. Otherwise, they will be in the blaming side. They will be in the side that is challenging government. Like you have unions like the transport union, they have shown the test to show that, you know, if they are not happy, they can also contribute to the retrogression of the country's business, because them not going to work means that everybody is affected. That day, even staff in the newsroom was a problem. All of a sudden, no vehicle going on. All of a sudden, no one is going to work. You go to work, appointments have been, you know, I mean, progressing backward. That was a problem. So now, how many people are in this, you know, timing bomb, you know, in the markets? You know, they will say our customers are not coming, producers are not doing so. So state of emergency comes with these, you know, ramifications, which are very, very serious. But also looking at also the presentation of this bill tonight, the request, we don't know what government has at hand, but it's something that must convince the National Assembly. We know that the National Assembly should be able to do their own research, because they have a special committee on state of emergency. They know also they are part of the country. They are affected directly or indirectly about all the lockdown, the coronavirus. So what are they going to discuss among themselves without relying from what comes from the Minister of Interior? But looking at it also, today was supposed to be the last day for the outgoing Minister of Justice. He should have been there. And then he mastered the rhythm in, I mean, exchanging with the National Assembly members. He knows how to persuade them. He knows how to argue with them. So over 3 years, that has been the trend. But today, this is a new person on this aspect to, you know, present a motion, a request on behalf of government for extension of the state of public emergency. That is likely going to affect every citizen in this country.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting day for the Interior Minister then today, of course. But then again, still on the issues and the concerns that the Parliament, you know, of course, rose during the initial sessions, and among which was, of course, the issue of the porous borders of our loss. Of course, we should be going back to the NAS, I'm told. Session is about to start, so we will come back maybe on these matters later. But for now, we head to Banjul.
Please say no. So the ayes have it. Clerk, can we proceed, please?
There is a communication from the chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we have received communication from the executive, that's from the Office of the President this morning, that the government is no more proceeding with its motion for the extension of a state of public emergency. Therefore, in consultation with the Assembly Business Committee, the motion will not be tabled as earlier placed on the order paper for today. And therefore, in accordance with Standing Order 13, Subclause 1, I hereby adjourn the sitting until tomorrow, Wednesday, the 1st of July, 2020, for the usual questions for oral answers time with several state ministers. The Assembly now stands adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 1st of July, 2020. And I thank you all. Thank you.
Well, of course, that's the breaking news there, as you can see. Again, interestingly, as we were expecting, it never turned out to be that way. The sessions has been adjourned by the Speaker of the National Assembly because there is a setback, as he puts it, from the government that, of course, the Minister of Interior was expected today to be at the National Assembly to table a motion on the state of public emergency. It never happened. Surprisingly, that's the breaking news. It has been adjourned to tomorrow so that they can continue their oral hearing sessions. But you know, the state of emergency, of course, matter is not to be discussed today.
Yeah, so sessions like this are inevitable in such a National Assembly and such a situation and such a country and such definitely a coronavirus pandemic situation. So what is happening, you know, no reason is given as to the cancellation. So this is not the first time. There was a time that, you know, the bill from the National Assembly, which was supposed to come from the Ministry of Economic Affairs, was to be tabled. The minister wasn't there, and a rejoinder have to be, you know, brought in. So it is happening. So meaning that this is not in the best interest of the country, because the
absolutely.
confusion
Now,
is going to multiply now. And now, you know, this is an ordinary session. And this session is
has
like,
been completely off today.
Excellent. So
now all that was to be discussed has
to be adjourned.
Absolutely has been adjourned to.
So it's a wasteful day. That's
the right way to say it.
It raises questions. What is the communication between the cabinet or various ministries with the National Assembly? Who is not respecting who? Is that the matter in the first place? We cannot tell. But these are all, you know, situations where we can argue like this. And then now that the National Assembly is rising up, nothing about the state of emergency, and this is just the ongoing state of emergency is coming to expire tonight. Tonight is expiring. So now meaning that what will happen between
does this send a signal? Maybe tonight again we might expect something from the president. Maybe if they have decided not to come forward and discuss this matter at the National Assembly, maybe the president have, you know, a right, of course, another to extend the emergency for another for 7 days, of course.
It will last for 7 days because there is session going on. If the president happens to declare, it will last for only 7 days. And then the National Assembly can also has the power to even revoke that one. But right now, because no one knows about the feeling of the National Assembly, they didn't debate on anything today, meaning that, you know, what sense would it make for president to keep declaring when the National Assembly is sitting? Why can't the National Assembly be used? Why can't the extension be done through the National Assembly? These are questions, because these are a matter of checks and balances. So no one national arm of government should be doing things over the other. So they are sitting, so there should be the reason clearly stated why the extension cannot happen.
Well, a day like today, looking at the situation also and the way it happens, how do you think the National Assembly members would feel? Would they feel disrespected, or, you know, maybe let down by the executive again?
The attitude of the National Assembly members has always been like that this National Assembly is no more like those in the past, so it should be respected. Like yesterday in point, you know, they rejected the amendment or the bill brought in by the country's vice president, you know, which according to them lacked some key detail. So they rejected it. So if they are able to send back the country's vice president, they can do it for the president. So they can also do it for any minister, you know, depending on what the standing order dictates them to do. So I mean, you know, as of today, it's like premature that no one knows why they are, you know, not sitting on the issue. So the public is already informed about the tabling of this extension for the state of public emergency. Now it is not happening. The questions will be why from every corner. So who will be responsible at the end of the day? Because in such a situation, it should not go scot-free. Somebody must be accountable for the delay in time, because this is a very busy time. It's coronavirus. It's a state of emergency. So if people have managed to go to work with all the energy and the resources used to get them there must not be just a day empty like this. This is the argument that we should move towards.
Absolutely, I think that's a very good one. Maybe probably to end the discussion. In fact, on that note, you know, thank you very much, President. It was good to have you, and of course, you know, and a very good one from you. Thank you very much. Of course, we will keep on the discussions, but just to remind you again, we were here this time, of course, to discuss about matters of the public emergency. It's ending tonight, remember, but of course the government, through the Minister of Interior, was expected to table a motion seeking an extension of another 45 days. But, you know, surprisingly or unfortunately, a setback happened, as the Speaker have said. Of course, sessions were eventually adjourned because there was nobody, of course, to present the bill. Probably there was a communication that they were informed or told about. So that's what happened. And of course, we thought today was going to be a very interesting day at the National Assembly. All of a sudden, this is what we all have seen. But of course, we'll see here against tonight. Probably anything could happen because we are in a very, you know, funny situation. You can't tell. But on that note, we want to thank you so very much, as always, for fully relying on Africa TV. And as we have been doing, we promise and we always others happen in this country, and of course beyond as well. And on that note, thank you very much from us. Till we meet again, do have a very, very pleasant afternoon. Bye-bye.